Picture your old classroom for a second. Rows of desks, maybe. Whiteboard.
Mm-hmm. Pretty standard stuff for a lot of
Right.
us.
Now think about today's learning spaces. Totally different, right? Adaptable furniture, tech everywhere, students working together.
It's a big shift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that shift is driving this, well, surprisingly booming global market. Educational furniture. And it's not just chairs, it's the whole design of where learning happens.
Absolutely. The architecture of learning, as you said.
So today we're doing a deep dive. We've got this really detailed report looking at market growth, forecasts, all of it.
Lots of numbers in there.
Yeah, lots of numbers. But our mission really is to unpack them for you, figure out what's driving things, and pull out the key insights, without getting totally lost in the weeds.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start with the global picture, the whole market.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2021, it was worth just over $6.6 billion.
Okay.
By 2025, it's projected to be around $8.5 billion.
Mm-hmm. Steady growth.
But here's the kicker. By 2033, the forecast jumps to a pretty staggering $14.3 billion.
Wow. Okay, that's a big leap. Almost double the 2021 figure in about 12 years.
Exactly. And it reflects this compound annual growth rate, the CKGR,
Yeah.
of nearly 6.7% year after year.
What's really interesting there isn't just the number itself, big as it is. It's the consistency. For an industry that, let's face it, can seem kind of traditional, like furniture.
Right, static.
Yeah, static. To see that kind of sustained growth, doubling its value, it really signals a profound shift in how we're thinking about and funding education spaces globally.
Okay, so that's the global view. Consistent growth. Let's see how that breaks down region by region, starting with North America.
Sure.
So North America was sitting at around $2.3 billion back in 2021,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also projected to basically double, hitting $4.7 billion by 2033. The growth rate there is about 6.2% CAGR.
Still very solid growth.
Definitely. Now, inside North America,
Mm.
well, the U.S. is obviously the biggest chunk of that. No surprise there. But the report points out something interesting. Canada, it's showing particularly strong growth, percentage-wise. A CAGR over 7%.
Oh, that's notable. Higher than the U.S.
Yeah, the U.S. figure is closer to 6.1%. Mexico's solid, too, around 6.4%. But Canada's leading the pack in terms of that growth rate.
That Canadian number. It's interesting. The report suggests maybe a stronger push there towards really flexible learning setups
Yeah,
and maybe faster tech integration in schools.
could be.
Moving quicker from those fixed desks to modular stuff. Furniture you can rearrange easily for group work, individual study, whatever's needed.
Makes sense. Okay, building on that, let's hop across the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Europe, also showing steady growth.
Yeah.
It started at roughly $1.4 billion in 2021,
Mm-hmm.
set to hit almost $3 billion by 2033, holding steady with a 6.24% CAGR, very close to North America's overall rate.
Consistent. So similar drivers, maybe?
Seems likely. But within Europe, there are some variations.
Yeah.
Germany really stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah, AGR is nearly 7%, almost 6.95%. The UK is also strong, over 6.5%. They seem to be the leaders in the region.
Okay, Germany and the UK pushing ahead.
But then you see some others with slower growth, like
Mhm.
Russia's down around 5%, France is about 5.7%, Italy near 5.9%.
Right. It's interesting to see that contrast. Germany, with its strong economy and that focus on vocational training and higher ed, maybe they're just investing more consistently in upgrading facilities.
Seems plausible.
Whereas lower figures elsewhere might just reflect different economic situations or perhaps a slower uptake of those newer, flexible learning models.
Good point. Okay. Now, here's where the report suggests things get really interesting. Asia Pacific.
Ah, the powerhouse region, right?
Exactly. This isn't just steady growth. It's explosive. Started around $1.9 billion in 2021.
Yep.
Projected to soar past $4.6 billion by 2033. Look at the CAGR, almost 7.5%, the highest regional rate.
Wow, 7.486%. That's significantly higher than North America or Europe.
Right. And digging into the countries, well, China's huge, obviously, growing fast at over 7.6% CAGR.
Makes sense. Massive population, massive investment.
Japan's also solid, around 6.8%.
But
India,
let me guess, even higher.
way higher. The report flags India as having just exceptional growth, an astounding CAGR of over 8.4%.
8.455%. That's the highest number we've seen anywhere, isn't it?
By far, the highest single country CAGR mentioned. And it's not alone. Singapore is over 7.8%. Southeast Asia as a whole is over 8.1%.
Incredible numbers. If you sort of connect that to the bigger picture, It just highlights the massive scale of investment happening in education across these, rapidly developing economies.
Definitely.
Huge young populations, massive emphasis on education for advancement. They're not just building schools, they're leapfrogging, putting in modern stuff right away.
Modernizing and equipping them for the future, yeah. Okay, so we've covered the big three. Let's quickly touch on the others because they're also part of this global trend. South America,
Right. What's the story there?
also growing strong, expected to more than double, from about $450 million in 2021 to over $1 billion by 2033. The CAGR is just under 7%.
Still very healthy growth. Any standouts?
Yeah, the report mentions Argentina, actually, with a KGR near 7.5%. And Brazil is strong, too, over 6.8%.
Okay, a consistent theme.
In the Middle East, similar story again, up from around $360 million to over $800 million. KGR close to 6.9%.
And key countries.
The UAE is mentioned, nearly 7.5% KGR, and Saudi Arabia over 6.9%.
Got it. Lots of investment there, too.
And finally, Africa. Starting from a smaller base, around $145 million, but still growing steadily to $325 million by 2033. That's just over a 6% CAGR. South Africa and Nigeria are highlighted with consistent growth there.
So really what this whole global tour shows is it's remarkably consistent, isn't it? Mid to high growth, pretty much everywhere, established economies, developing ones, emerging markets.
That seems universal.
Right. Investing in the actual physical spaces for learning is clearly a global priority.
So let's get to the why. What does this all mean? What's actually fueling this big global expansion in, school furniture?
Well, the report boils it down to two main drivers, really. First, just significant investment globally in education infrastructure itself. Building new schools, yes, but also expanding and, maybe more importantly, modernizing existing ones.
Right, updating older buildings.
Exactly. So many schools are decades old. They need upgrading for how learning happens now. And second, and this is key, the accelerating pace of technology adoption in schools.
Okay, let's unpack that second one. Technology adoption driving furniture sales. What does that actually look like? Because it sounds like more than just, needing desks with plugs.
Oh, it's much more than that. The report talks about this big shift away from rows of individual desks.
The old model.
Yeah, the old model. Towards modular, often ergonomic furniture, stuff with built-in power, yes, but also designed for collaboration. Pieces you can quickly reconfigure for different activities, different tech.
Like for tablets or laptops or group screens.
Exactly. Or even things like VR setups down the line. It's furniture that supports active learning, teamwork, digital tools. It's functional. The furniture itself becomes part of the learning toolkit, not just a place to sit.
That's fascinating. So for you, the listener, understanding this, it's not just market data, right? It's about seeing these global priorities shift, seeing how learning spaces are evolving. It gives you a real glimpse into the future of education, actually.
How education itself is changing.
So the big takeaway from our deep dive today, it seems pretty clear. We're seeing this consistent, really robust growth globally in educational furniture.
Yeah, solid expansion.
Driven by basically big investments in school buildings and infrastructure, and this huge push to integrate technology right into the learning environment. It's changing how and where students actually learn.
And maybe a final thought to leave people with. Consider this. If we're seeing such strong, sustained investment in the physical learning space, the desks, the chairs, the collaborative setups.
Right, the actual stuff.
Yeah. What does that tell us about the underlying belief in structured, probably often in-person education, even with everything going digital?
That's a great point. It suggests the physical classroom isn't dead.
Far from it seems. It's just evolving, adapting.
A really interesting thought, something for you to maybe think about. How these global trends might be playing out in schools near you, or even how they might shape learning experiences in the future.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at something you might think is pretty straightforward educational furniture. Desks, chairs, right. But it turns out it's actually this fascinating and really fast-moving market. It's changing how learning spaces actually work. So yeah, the topic is the educational furniture solutions market. It's basically where the physical side of learning gets reimagined for, today.
Exactly. And our guide for this is a report from Cognitive Market Research called Educational Furniture Market: Dynamics, Trends, and Challenges. Our job here is to pull out the key takeaways, the really important stuff, so you can get a handle on what's shaping these 21st century learning environments.
Okay, let's unpack this then. It seems like there's way more driving this market than just, well, needing chairs for kids to sit on. So if we're looking at what's really pushing things forward, the first big one seems to be just more money going into schools, right? Like investment in the actual buildings and resources.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a significant uptick globally. Governments, private sector folks, they're putting serious resources into educational infrastructure. And that investment isn't just about maintenance. It's about modernization. It translates directly into needing versatile and innovative furniture. Think about integrating digital tools, thinking about ergonomics, safety, collaboration.
So it's not just replacing old desks with slightly newer desks.
Not at all. The report talks about demand for everything from smart lecture halls to active learning classrooms. It's really a fundamental redesign, thinking about how space enables learning.
Okay, and speaking of modernization, you can't ignore e-learning and hybrid classrooms. That must have completely shaken things up.
Oh, massively. It's where things get really interesting, actually. Blended learning isn't just a trend anymore, it's reality. And that creates this huge demand for specific kinds of furniture. We're talking modular and technology-friendly stuff.
Like what specifically?
Well, think adjustable desks, maybe standing options, whiteboards you can wheel around easily, seating that you can quickly rearrange for group work or individual focus.
Ah, okay. Stuff that lets you switch modes quickly.
Precisely. It supports those seamless shifts between maybe online instruction and in-person collaboration. And this isn't just universities. It's K-12 too. The furniture needs to be flexible.
And then there's the whole wellness aspect. I keep hearing more about ergonomics, posture. Is that actually driving purchasing decisions now?
Definitely. There's much more awareness about the health implications of sitting for long hours, especially for kids and young adults. Posture issues are a real concern.
Right.
So institutions are responding. They're actively looking for ergonomic chairs, height-adjustable desks, furniture that really supports physical well-being. It's becoming a key factor in procurement. They want designs that support long hours of safe and productive learning. It's an investment in the students, really.
Okay, so lots of positive drivers. But no market grows without hitting some bumps. What's holding things back? What are the main challenges?
Well, the big one, maybe unsurprisingly, is money. Especially in public institutions, and particularly in developing regions. The report flags financial limitations, just plain tight budgets.
Yeah, that sounds familiar for education.
Right, and it means they often can't spring for the premium tech-integrated stuff we were just talking about, or even just better ergonomic options.
So they stick with the old stuff for longer.
Exactly. It slows down adoption of new designs and definitely lengthens those replacement cycles.
You mentioned budgets, which is always a factor, but is there something unique here? How does it impact furniture specifically compared to, say, buying new software?
That's a good point. Furniture is a big upfront capital cost, right? It's not like a subscription. You're buying assets you expect to last maybe decades.
Okay.
So that initial price tag looms really large. It makes schools, especially public ones, maybe more cautious compared to like a yearly software license renewal. The commitment feels bigger.
And I imagine just getting the furniture there is complex. We're talking potentially huge orders, maybe custom pieces, going to lots of different schools.
Oh, the logistics are definitely a challenge. Think about delivering customized or large quantities, like the report says, sometimes to pretty remote rural areas, or navigating really congested cities.
Right.
Plus, you add in potential delays in the supply of raw materials, wood, metal, plastics. If there's a hiccup there, especially when schools are trying to get ready for a new year or finish a construction project.
Yeah, that timing is critical. It can throw everything off.
It really can. It disrupts the whole deployment schedule.
And then there's the simple fact that schools are, well, tough environments for furniture. Durability must be a huge concern.
Absolutely critical. These pieces need to be rugged. They have to withstand serious daily wear and tear.
Kids knocking them around, constant use.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if a product isn't durable, that means higher maintenance costs down the line for the school. It also makes institutions pretty wary of trying newer brands or maybe more innovative, potentially less proven designs. They might just stick with the traditional suppliers they know and trust, even if they aren't offering the latest features.
Okay, so cost, logistics, durability, those are some real hurdles. But let's shift focus a bit. What about the exciting stuff? What trends are really shaping the future here?
Well, one really positive trend is the big push towards sustainable and eco-friendly materials.
Ah, okay. More green classrooms.
Yeah, institutions are definitely becoming more environmentally conscious. They're actively looking for furniture made with recyclable materials, stuff with low VOC emissions.
VOCs, those are the volatile organic compounds, right? The stuff that can off-gas from new furniture.
Exactly. Fewer harmful chemicals in the classroom air. They're also looking for FSC-certified components, meaning the wood comes from responsibly managed forests.
So manufacturers are having to respond.
They are. They're aligning with global green standards because it's becoming a procurement requirement for many schools and districts.
And we talked about technology integration earlier. How is that evolving? It feels like classrooms are becoming really tech-heavy spaces.
They really are.
Mm-hmm.
And the furniture is evolving right alongside it. We're seeing a definite rise in smart and tech-integrated furniture designs.
Smart furniture, what does that actually mean?
Well, think furniture with built-in charging ports for laptops and tablets, maybe integrated tablet stands, clever cable management systems so you don't have wires everywhere.
Okay, practical stuff.
Very practical. It's about making the physical space support the digital tools seamlessly. The report says it significantly enhances classroom productivity. And that's across the board, K-12 and higher ed.
Makes sense. And the last big trend mentioned is this move towards customization and flexible learning spaces. That sounds like it could really change how teachers teach.
Oh, absolutely. It's a potential game changer for pedagogy. Schools are moving away from those fixed, rigid seating plans.
Rows of desks facing the front.
Right. Instead, they're embracing modular furniture that can be quickly reconfigured.
Why is that so important?
Because it supports diverse teaching strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Think collaborative group work 1 minute, individual focused study the next, maybe a presentation set up after that. It allows educators to tailor the space to the subject, the activity, different student needs, creates more inclusive learning environments. You can adapt the room on the fly.
That really opens up possibilities.
It really does. So summing up, it's clear this market is changing fast. It's being pushed by digital innovation, wellness priorities, and just this general global focus on improving education quality.
Yeah, a lot of momentum. But as we discussed, there are still those key challenges, cost, logistics, and durability that everyone involved has to figure out how to manage. So here's something to think about. If the furniture itself is becoming less passive, if it's actually shaping how we sit, how we focus, how we interact, what does that really mean for the experience of learning down the road? How much more will our physical spaces change what's even possible inside a classroom or a lecture hall? It's pretty interesting to consider.
It really is. And hopefully these insights give you something to think about regarding your own learning or work environments. And maybe you'll start noticing these trends playing out around you.